Jack Miller liked the quiet. He spent most days staring at computer screens in a small office in Seattle, writing code to protect companies from hackers. At 32, he had few friends and even fewer adventures. That's why he bought the small cabin in the woods 2 hours from the city. Every weekend he drove there to enjoy the silence and the stars. This Friday night was no different. Jack sat on his wooden porch, a cup of coffee warming his hands as he looked up at the clear night sky. The nearest neighbor was 3 miles away, and the soft chirping of crickets was the only sound breaking the silence. Until something bright streaked across the sky. Jack stood up, spilling his coffee. The light wasn't a shooting star. It moved too slowly, leaving a blue trail as it arced down toward the forest behind his cabin. When it disappeared below the tree line, he felt the ground shake slightly. A dull thud echoed through the trees, followed by the startled cries of birds. "What the hell?" Jack whispered, setting down his mug. He should call someone. The police, maybe, or the local rangers. Instead, he went inside and grabbed his flashlight and jacket. The smart thing would be to stay put, but Jack had spent his life being smart and careful. For once, curiosity won. He followed the blue glow through the trees. It took 15 minutes of careful walking before he found the source. In a small clearing, a pod about the size of a car had dug into the soil. It wasn't like anything Jack had seen before. The surface looked like metal but shimmered like water when his flashlight beam hit it. Blue light pulsed from within, casting strange shadows on the trees. Jack approached slowly. The pod had no visible seams or doors. As he got closer, the surface rippled and part of it became clear like glass. Inside, he could see someone. "Oh my God," he breathed. It was a woman, or at least woman-shaped. Her skin was blue with patterns that glowed softly. Instead of hair, she had something like feathers that changed colors as they moved. She wasn't moving. Jack placed his hand on the pod. The surface felt warm and vibrated slightly under his palm. Suddenly, the clear section dissolved completely, leaving an opening. Cold air rushed out, smelling like ozone and something sweet he couldn't name. The woman inside didn't stir. Was she dead? Injured? Jack leaned in closer. Her chest moved slightly. "Breathing. Hello?" Jack whispered. No response. Making a decision he would later question many times, Jack carefully lifted her out of the pod. She was lighter than he expected, almost weightless in his arms. Her skin felt like smooth silk, and the glowing patterns pulsed faintly. He carried her back to his cabin, laid her on his couch and covered her with a blanket. Then he paced the room, trying to decide what to do next. Call the police? They'd take her away. The government would lock her up in some lab. Jack had seen enough movies to know how this went. But he wasn't equipped to handle an alien in his living room either. While Jack worried, the woman stirred. Her eyes opened, revealing pupils like violet galaxies. She sat up slowly, the blanket falling away as she looked around the cabin with obvious curiosity. When she saw Jack, she froze. They stared at each other in silence. Then she spoke. The sounds weren't English, not any language Jack recognized. Her voice had an echo-like quality, as if two people spoke at once. "I don't understand," Jack said, holding his hands up to show. He meant no harm. The woman tilted her head, then touched a small device on her wrist. She spoke again, different sounds this time. After trying several languages, she sighed and reached into a pocket in her strange clothing. She pulled out a small crystal that glowed with the same blue light as her pod. "Please enter me, human," she said suddenly in perfect English, holding out the crystal. Jack stepped back, nearly knocking over a lamp. "What?" "Please enter me," she repeated, extending her hand further. "It is necessary for proper communication." "Look, I don't know what you mean, but that's not—" Jack stuttered, his face hot with embarrassment. The woman looked confused. Then her expression changed to something like amusement. "Your mind thinks in physical terms. Interesting. I refer to neural connection, not bodily fusion." She stood up, moving with strange grace. "My name is Lyra. I am an emissary from the Void Striders. This crystal allows temporary neural connection between our minds. You will remain fully conscious and in control. It is how my people communicate important matters. Jack stared at the glowing crystal. That thing will connect our minds? Yes. It is safe. Temporary. It will help me explain why I am here. She stepped closer. Your world calls this first contact. My people prefer direct understanding over words alone. Jack hesitated. Every rational part of him screamed to run away. But something else, curiosity maybe, or fate, made him stay. Will it hurt? He asked. Lyra smiled. Her teeth were white but slightly pointed. It feels like remembering something you never knew you forgot. Slowly, Jack reached out. When his fingers touched the crystal, blue light spiraled up his arm. His vision blurred, and suddenly, he wasn't just in his cabin anymore. He saw a world, with 3 suns and enormous cities floating in clouds. He felt the joy of minds connecting across vast distances. He experienced the terror as a dark void approached their star system, consuming everything in its path. Just as quickly, the visions ended. Jack gasped and stumbled backward. Now you understand, Lyra said softly. My world is dying. We need humanity's help. Jack's mind raced with the images and feelings he'd just experienced. Those weren't just pictures. I felt everything. That is how we share truth. No deception is possible in the sharing. Lyra sat back down on the couch. Your neural patterns are unique, special. My pod was programmed to find someone like you. Me? I'm just a programmer. I'm nobody special. To save both our worlds, I need someone who can think between spaces. Your mind does this when you work with your computer codes. Lyra's eyes dimmed slightly. I must recover from my journey. Then I will explain more. As Lyra rested, Jack looked out his window at the stars. They suddenly seemed closer, more dangerous. His quiet life had shattered in a single night. In the distance, he saw lights moving through the trees. Flashlights. Someone else had seen the pod crash. Jack closed his curtains and turned to look at the alien sleeping on his couch. His life would never be quiet again. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat in his kitchen drinking coffee and watching Lyra rest on his couch. The strange lights under her blue skin pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Every few minutes he peeked through the curtains. The flashlights in the woods were gone now, but he felt sure someone would come looking soon. When morning came, Lyra opened her eyes and sat up. She looked around the cabin with fresh interest in the daylight. Your dwelling is very solid, she said. My people build with light and thought. Jack pushed a mug of water toward her. I saw that in the vision. Your city's in the clouds. Lyra took the mug, sniffed it, then drank. The neural connection showed you glimpses only. There is much more to share. About that, Jack said, sitting across from her. You said my neural patterns are special. What does that mean? Lyra's feather-like hair shifted colors, turning from blue to purple. My people evolved as symbiotic entities. We share consciousness with compatible hosts. It is our highest form of communication and trust. You share bodies? Not exactly. We share minds, temporarily. The connection we made with the crystal was the simplest form. She leaned forward. My species faces extinction. The void you saw in our vision is real. It will consume our star system within one cycle of your Earth year. And what does that have to do with me? Jack asked. Human neural patterns hold a key. Your minds can do something ours cannot. Perceive multiple realities at once through imagination. This ability, combined with our technology, could create a shield against the void. Jack laughed without humor. I'm just a regular guy who writes computer code. I'm not special. But you are, Lyra said. She pointed to his laptop on the table. When you work with your codes, you hold multiple states in your mind at once. What is? What could be? What might happen if conditions change? This is rare even among humans. Your mind reached out like a beacon to my pod. Jack remembered how the pod had landed so close to his cabin. Had it really sought him out specifically? Lyra stood and walked to the window. My people sent 100 emissaries to Earth. We seek 100 humans with compatible minds. Together we can save both our worlds. Both worlds? You mean this void thing threatens Earth too? Yes. It will reach our system first, but Earth lies in its path. We detected it only because our sensors reach farther into space than yours. Jack ran his hands through his hair. This is insane. I should call someone, the government, scientists. No. Lyra's voice carried such force that Jack stepped back. Your governments would see us as threats. They would study us, not help us. We need willing partners, not captors. Before Jack could respond, his phone rang. He checked the screen. It was his boss, Diane. Hello? He answered, trying to sound normal. Jack, where are you? Did you forget about the security update? Diane sounded annoyed. Jack had completely forgotten it was Monday. He was supposed to be at work. Sorry, I'm sick. Food poisoning. I should have called. We'll get better. The client needs this update by Wednesday. She hung up. Jack looked at Lyra. I have a job. A life. I can't just disappear to save the universe. I understand. But soon you may have no job, no life, and no universe. Lyra's voice was gentle but firm. I need to show you more. A deeper connection would help you understand. Like the crystal thing, but more. Yes, the crystal allowed surface thoughts to transfer. A true symbiosis would let us share deeper knowledge. I could show you exactly what the void is and how to stop it. Jack hesitated. The first connection had been overwhelming enough. Will it change me? Make me not me anymore? Lyra shook her head. You will remain Jack Miller. I will remain Lyra. But we will understand each other completely. Before Jack could decide, his phone buzzed with a news alert. A meteor shower had been reported over the Pacific Northwest last night. Several objects had been tracked entering the atmosphere. The other pods, Lyra said, reading over his shoulder. My people have arrived. Jack turned on the small TV in the kitchen. The news showed military vehicles moving into forests across Washington state. A reporter stood in front of a roadblock, explaining that the area was closed due to potential hazardous debris. They're looking for your friends, Jack said. Yes, and they will find this cabin soon. Lyra touched Jack's arm. We must leave. There is a gathering place. The others will be there. Jack thought about his job, his apartment in Seattle, his quiet life. Could he really leave it all behind? The decision was made for him when he heard vehicles on the dirt road outside. Through the window he saw 2 black SUVs approaching. Back door, he whispered, grabbing his backpack. He quickly stuffed it with food, water, his laptop, and a first aid kit. Lyra followed him through the back door and into the woods behind the cabin. They had just made it among the trees when men in dark suits surrounded the cabin. This way, Jack said, leading Lyra deeper into the forest. He knew these woods well from his weekend hikes. They moved quickly for hours, stopping only to rest briefly. Jack kept checking his phone, but the signal was gone this deep in the forest. As the sun began to set, they reached a small stream. Jack filled their water bottles while Lyra looked up at the darkening sky. The others will be moving toward the gathering place too, she said, if they escaped capture. Where is this gathering place? Jack asked. A mountaintop, the highest peak, in this region. The energy there will help us connect with our ship in orbit. Mount Rainier? That's days away on foot. And it's a national park. There will be rangers, tourists. We have no choice. Lyra sat beside him. We need to strengthen our connection before we reach the others. It will help us move faster, think clearer. Jack was exhausted, scared, and overwhelmed. But when he looked at Lyra's alien eyes and thought about the images he'd seen of her dying world, he found himself nodding. What do we do? Lyra took both his hands in hers. Her skin was warm now and the patterns of light pulsed faster. Close your eyes. Think of an open door in your mind. Jack did as she asked. At first, nothing happened. Then he felt a warm current flow between their hands. His mind expanded, like the first connection, but deeper, more complete. He saw Lyra's childhood on a world with purple skies. He felt her training to become an emissary, the pride and fear of being chosen for such an important mission. He understood the void as a tear in space itself, consuming everything in its path. And somehow he knew Lyra could see his memories too. His lonely childhood, his love of computers, the peace he found in his cabin away from people. When they broke apart, the forest had grown dark around them. Jack felt different, more aware, more alive. Looking at his hands, he saw faint traces of blue light under his skin, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. "What's happening to me?" he whispered. "We are becoming something new," Lyra answered. "Neither fully human nor fully Void Strider, something better than both." In the distance they heard dogs barking and saw flashlights moving through the trees. "They're tracking us," Jack said. But he wasn't afraid anymore. Somehow he knew exactly which way to go to avoid them. Together they moved into the night, two minds sharing one purpose, running toward a future neither could have imagined just days before. The forest grew thicker as Jack and Lyra moved deeper into the wilderness. 3 days had passed since they fled the cabin. Jack's legs ached from walking, but the connection with Lyra helped him push through the pain. Sometimes he would catch glimpses of her thoughts, memories of flying through the clouds on her homeworld, the taste of strange fruits that grew in floating gardens. "How much farther to Mount Rainier?" Lyra asked as they rested by a small stream. Jack checked his phone. The battery was almost dead, but the map still worked. "About 20 more miles. We could reach it tomorrow if we keep a good pace." Lyra dipped her blue fingers into the water. The glowing patterns under her skin had grown brighter since their deeper connection. "The others will be gathering. I can feel them." "How many made it?" Jack asked. "Not enough." Lyra's face showed sadness. "Many pods were captured. Only 37 of us remain free." Jack thought about the news reports they'd seen on his phone before the signal died. The government called it a meteor shower, but special teams were searching the forests. They claimed it was for public safety, but Jack knew better now. "What happens when we reach the mountain?" he asked. "We will call our ship. Those of us who found partners will return with them to complete the shield." Lyra looked at Jack. "If you still choose to come." Jack touched his arm where the faint blue light now pulsed under his skin. The connection had changed him. He could think faster, see better in the dark, even feel the emotions of animals nearby. He wasn't fully human anymore. "I don't think I have much choice," he said. "We're already—" He struggled to find the right word. "Linked," Lyra finished. "Yes, the symbiosis has begun, but you can still choose to stay. I would leave part of myself with you, but I would go." Jack tried to imagine returning to his old life, coding in a small office, living alone in his apartment. It seemed empty now. But leaving Earth? That terrified him too. Before he could answer, they heard a twig snap nearby. Jack froze. Through their connection, he sensed Lyra's alarm. "Someone's watching us," he whispered. Lyra nodded, slowly standing. Her eyes scanned the trees. Jack followed her gaze and saw a flash of movement. "Come out," he called. "We know you're there." A woman stepped from behind a tree. She wore hiking clothes and carried a small backpack. Her red hair was tied in a messy ponytail, and dirt smudged her face. She held up her hands to show she wasn't armed. "I'm not with them," she said. "My name is Samantha. Sam. I've been following you since yesterday." Jack moved in front of Lyra protectively. "Why?" "Because she's like you," Sam said, pointing at Lyra. "Blue skin. Glowing marks. I met one too, but they took him." Lyra stepped forward. "You found one of my people?" Sam nodded, tears forming in her eyes. "His name was Naren. We connected, like you two have." She pushed up her sleeve to show faint blue lights under her skin. "Then men in black suits came. They shot him with some kind of dart. I ran. I've been hiding in the woods ever since." Jack and Lyra shared a quick glance. their connected minds sharing the same thought. They could trust her. "We're going to Mount Rainier," Jack said, "to meet the others." "I know," Sam replied. "Naren told me before they took him. That's where I was heading to." They let Sam join them. As they walked, she told them her story. She had been camping when Naren's pod crashed nearby. Like Jack, she had helped the alien and formed a connection. Unlike Jack, she had lost her partner before they could fully bond. "Can you still feel him?" Lyra asked as they made camp that night. Sam nodded. "Faintly. He's alive, but in pain. They're keeping him somewhere cold and bright. A lab, I think." "The government doesn't understand what they're dealing with," Jack said. "They think your people are a threat." "They are right to fear what they don't understand," Lyra said. "But time is running out. The void grows closer to my world each day." That night as Sam slept, Jack and Lyra sat by the small fire. Through their connection, Jack felt Lyra's worry. "What is it?" he asked. "There is something I haven't told you," Lyra admitted. "About our connection." Jack's heart sank. "What?" "The deeper we bond, the harder it becomes to separate. Already, we share more than thoughts. Our very life forces are mixing." "What does that mean?" "If I die, part of you dies too, and if we complete the full symbiosis," she paused, "you can never be fully human again." Jack stared into the fire. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "I was afraid you would reject the connection. We needed to bond quickly to escape." Lyra touched his hand. "I am sorry." Jack pulled away, anger rising. "You had no right to change me without telling me everything." "You are right." Lyra's feathery hair dimmed in color. "My people value truth above all. I have failed our highest law." Jack wanted to stay angry, but through their connection, he felt her genuine remorse. He also felt something else, a deep loneliness she had carried her whole life. Even among her own kind, Lyra had felt different, incomplete, until she met him. "I understand why you did it," he finally said. "But no, more secrets." "No more secrets," she agreed. The next morning they continued toward Mount Rainier. The mountain loomed large in the distance, its peak covered in snow. They stuck to the forest, avoiding trails where hikers might see them. Around noon, they heard helicopters. Looking up through the trees, they saw 3 black military choppers circling the area. "They know where we're going," Sam said, fear in her voice. Jack nodded. "They must have figured out the pattern. All the pods are heading to high points." "We need to move faster," Lyra said. "The ship will arrive at sundown." They increased their pace, but the helicopters kept circling closer. When they reached the tree line at the base of the mountain, they had nowhere to hide. "We'll have to wait until dark," Jack said, looking at the open slope ahead. But as the sun began to set, they heard vehicles approaching. Through their connection, Jack felt Lyra's panic. "We can't wait," she said. "The ship is already on its way." "If we go out there now, they'll see us," Sam argued. Jack closed his eyes, thinking. Then he felt something stir in the back of his mind, knowledge that wasn't his. Through their connection, Lyra was sharing one of her abilities. "I think I can hide us," he said, opening his eyes. Blue light now glowed visibly under his skin. Not for long, but maybe long enough to reach the top. "How?" Sam asked. "Lyra's people can bend light. Create a kind of camouflage." He looked at Lyra. "Show me how." Lyra took his hands. Their connection deepened as she guided his thoughts. Jack felt energy flowing through him, around him, bending the light that touched their bodies. When he opened his eyes again, he could see through his own hands, not invisible but blurred like heat waves rising from hot pavement. "It's working," Sam whispered in awe. Lyra smiled. "Now we run." As the sun touched the horizon, 3 blurred shapes raced up the mountain slope. Behind them, soldiers poured from trucks and began to climb. Above, helicopters swept searchlights across the mountainside. The ship was coming. The soldiers were closing in. And Jack realized he had made his choice the moment he first touched Lyra's crystal. His old life was gone. Something new waited at the mountaintop. The climb up Mount Rainier grew harder as the sun set. Jack, Lyra, and Sam moved as quickly as they could while staying hidden. Jack's new ability to bend light around them worked, but it took great effort. Sweat dripped down his face as he focused on maintaining the camouflage. "How much farther?" Sam whispered. Her breath made small clouds in the cold air. "The meeting point is near the summit," Lyra said. "Just below the final ridge." Jack glanced back. Flashlights dotted the slope below them as soldiers climbed the mountain. Helicopters circled overhead, their powerful searchlights sweeping the snow. "We won't make it," he said. "They're too close." Lyra touched his arm. "We must try." Through their connection, Jack felt her determination. He also felt something new, a presence in the sky above them. The ship was approaching. "Look," Sam said, pointing up. The clouds above the mountain began to glow with soft blue light. To most people, it might look like strange northern lights. But Jack knew better. The Void Strider ship was positioning itself over Mount Rainier, hidden within the clouds. "The others will be gathering now," Lyra said. "We must hurry." They continued, climbing. Jack's strength was fading. The light bending took more energy than he expected. The blue glow under his skin flickered like a dying flashlight. "I can't hold it much longer," he gasped. "You don't need to," Lyra said. "Look ahead." Through the swirling snow, Jack saw a ledge on the mountainside. Several figures stood there, their blue skin glowing in the darkness. Other Void Striders had reached the meeting point. Some stood alone. Others were accompanied by humans. "We made it," Sam whispered. Jack let the camouflage drop. The effort had drained him completely. He stumbled, and Lyra caught him before he fell. "Rest," she said. "We're safe now." They joined the other Void Striders on the ledge. Jack counted 23 aliens and 19 humans. All the humans had the same blue glow under their skin that he and Sam had. A tall Void Strider stepped forward. His skin was deeper blue than Lyra's, and the patterns that glowed beneath it were more complex. "Lyra," he said, his voice deep and musical. "We feared you were lost." "We were delayed, Elder Zarin," Lyra replied. "The humans have found many of our pods." Zarin looked at Jack and Sam. "You found compatible partners. Good. We have too few." "What happens now?" Jack asked. Zarin pointed to the glowing clouds above. "Our ship awaits. Those who have formed bonds must complete the final symbiosis before we can return." "Final symbiosis?" Sam asked, looking nervous. "The full joining of minds," Zarin explained. "What you have experienced so far is only the beginning. The true bond goes much deeper." Jack felt unease growing in his stomach. "Lyra, you didn't mention a final symbiosis." Lyra wouldn't meet his eyes. "I was going to tell you when we reached safety." "Tell me what?" Jack demanded. Zarin answered instead. "The final symbiosis is permanent. Your consciousness and Lyra's will merge completely. Neither of you will exist as you once were. You will become a new being, with memories and abilities from both." Jack stepped back. "That's not what you told me, Lyra. You said I would still be me." "You will," Lyra said quickly. "Part of you will always be Jack Miller, but you will also be more." "You lied to me," Jack said, anger rising. "Again." Lyra's feathery hair dimmed. "I feared you would not help us if you knew the full truth." "So you tricked me?" Jack's voice rose. "Jack," Sam said softly. "Naren told me the truth from the beginning. I knew what I was choosing." Jack looked at her in surprise. "And you were okay with it?" Sam nodded. "My life before, it wasn't much. This is a chance to be part of something bigger. To save 2 worlds." Jack turned away, looking down the mountain. The soldiers were getting closer. Their flashlights cut through the darkness like angry eyes. "If you wish to leave, you may," Zarin said. "But know that without enough symbiotic pairs, the shield cannot be completed. Both our worlds will fall to the void." Jack thought about his old life, his empty apartment, The endless hours of coding, the weekends alone in his cabin. Had it really been a life worth holding on to? Before he could decide, a blinding light hit the ledge. A helicopter had spotted them, its searchlight fixed on the gathered aliens and humans. "Warning, this is the United States military," a voice boomed from a speaker. "You're in a restricted area. Stay where you are." More helicopters appeared, surrounding the ledge. Below, soldiers began to run up the final stretch of slope. "They have found us," Zarin said calmly. "We are out of time. Those who wish to come must decide now." Blue light shot down from the clouds above, a beam connecting the ship to the ledge. The Void Striders began to step into it with their human partners. "Jack," Lyra said, reaching for his hand. "Please." Jack hesitated. Then a gunshot rang out. One of the soldiers had fired at the light beam. Zarin stumbled back, blue blood flowing from his shoulder. The human paired with him caught him before he fell. "They're shooting at us," someone yelled. More gunfire erupted. The humans on the mountain were attacking what they didn't understand. Sam grabbed Jack's arm. "We have to go, now." She pulled him toward the beam of light. Around them, the other pairs were already rising into the air, lifted toward the hidden ship. "Wait," Jack said, pulling away. "I haven't decided yet." "There's no time," Lyra pleaded. "The ship cannot stay. The void comes for my world and yours will follow." Jack looked at the soldiers closing in, their weapons ready. He looked at Lyra, the alien who had changed his life in less than a week. Through their connection, he felt her fear, her hope, and her love. Yes, love. For him and for the universe she was trying to save. In that moment, another helicopter rose above the ledge. A man in a dark suit leaned out, holding what looked like a large gun. But it wasn't a normal weapon. It fired a pulse of energy that struck one of the rising Void Striders. The alien screamed and fell from the beam, crashing to the snow. "They have weapons that hurt us," Lyra said, her voice trembling. "Your government has studied our kind." Sam stepped into the light beam and began to rise. "Jack, come on!" Jack looked down at his hands. The blue light under his skin pulsed with his heartbeat. He was already changed. There was no going back to his old life, even if he stayed. "Will it hurt?" he asked Lyra, echoing the question he'd asked when they first met. "No," she said. "It feels like coming home to a place you've always belonged." Another energy pulse hit the ledge, sending snow and rock flying. Jack made his decision. He grabbed Lyra's hand and together they stepped into the beam of light. They rose toward the clouds. Jack looked down at the mountain growing smaller below. The soldiers, the helicopters, his home, his world, all falling away. Above, the clouds parted to reveal an enormous ship, beautiful and strange, waiting to carry them to the stars. To a new life. To become something neither human nor alien, but something new. And as they entered the ship, Jack felt Lyra's consciousness begin to merge fully with his own. Memories flowed between them like water. Fear melted away. In its place came understanding, acceptance, and a sense of purpose greater than anything he had ever known. "We are one now," a voice said, both Lyra's and his own, speaking together, from one mind. Around them, other merged beings prepared the ship for its journey. The final symbiosis was complete. Jack Miller was gone. Lyra of the Void Striders was gone. In their place stood a new being with the best of both worlds. The ship rose higher, breaking free of Earth's atmosphere. Below, the angry lights of human weapons grew dim. Above, the stars waited, and somewhere beyond them a void that threatened all existence, a void they now had a chance to stop. 6 months passed since the Void Strider ship left Earth. In that time, the being that was once Jack and Lyra had changed. They called themselves Jakira now, one mind with memories from 2 lives. Around them, on the great ship, 38 other merged beings worked to build the shield that would save both worlds. Jakira stood by the viewing window looking out at the stars. The ship traveled faster than light, bending space around it. Soon they would reach the Void Strider home system. "Is it strange?" Sam asked, joining them at the window. She too had completed her final symbiosis with another Void Strider since Naren remained captive on Earth. She now called herself Samira. Is what strange? Jakira asked. Having two sets of memories, two childhoods, two lives. Jakira smiled. At first, yes, but now it feels natural. Like I was always meant to be this way. The human part remembers growing up in Seattle. The Void Strider. Part remembers flying through gas clouds on a distant world. Both are me. Samira nodded. I feel the same. Though I miss Earth sometimes. We both do, Jakira said. But we'll return soon. After we save the Void Strider world, we must warn Earth about the Void. An alarm sounded through the ship. The stars outside the window blurred as the ship slowed from its faster-than-light travel. They had arrived. The Void Strider home system appeared before them, 3 suns circling each other with 12 planets orbiting around them. The third planet, Lyra's home, glowed blue and purple in the light of the suns. But beyond it, at the edge of the system, they could see the void. It looked like a tear in space itself, a darkness deeper than the space between stars. It swallowed light, matter, even time. And it was moving slowly toward the planets. It's bigger than we thought, Samira whispered. Zarin, now healed from the gunshot wound, approached them. Like all the other Void Striders, he had merged with his human partner and taken a new name. Zareth. We have little time, Zareth said. The Void will reach the outer planet in 10 Earth days. The ship moved toward the blue-purple planet. As they approached, Jakira saw the floating cities Lyra had shown Jack in their first connection. Massive, structures built of crystal and light, suspended in the thick atmosphere. They landed on a platform that hovered above the clouds. Other Void Striders greeted them, those who had stayed behind to prepare for their return. The shield generator is ready, one of them said. We only needed the merged minds to power it. Jakira followed the others to a huge dome at the center of the floating city. Inside, a machine unlike anything Jack had ever seen filled the space. It wasn't built of metal or plastic, but of crystal, light, and what seemed like liquid thought. Each merged pair must take a position around the circle, Zareth explained. Jakira and Samira found their places with the others. The machine hummed to life. From the center, a column of light rose up through the dome's ceiling and into space. Now we must all connect, Zareth said. Not just with our individual parts, but with each other. All minds as one. Jakira closed their eyes. The human part remembered how scary the first connection with Lyra had been. The Void Strider part remembered years of training for this moment. Together, they opened their mind to the others. It felt like falling into an ocean of thought. Suddenly, Jakira could feel everyone, all 39 merged beings, each with their own stories, fears, and hopes. Their minds joined together, creating something greater than any individual. Through this connection, Jakira could see the void clearly for the first time. It wasn't just a natural disaster, it was a wound in reality itself, caused by an ancient experiment gone wrong. The Void Strider's ancestors had tried to create a doorway to another universe. Instead, they tore the fabric of space. For centuries, the tear had been too small to cause harm. But recently it had begun to grow, feeding on the energy of the nearby stars. The shield wouldn't destroy the void. Nothing could. But it might contain it, stop its growth, save both the Void Strider world and eventually Earth. With all minds connected, the machine's light grew brighter. The column reaching into space widened, spreading like a dome over the planet. Where the light touched the void, the darkness hesitated, then stopped advancing. For 3 days, the merged beings maintained the connection, feeding the shield with their combined mental energy. The human half of each pair provided the imaginative power to see multiple realities at once. The Void Strider half provided the technical knowledge to shape those possibilities into a physical shield. On the 4th day, the shield was complete. It surrounded the entire system, keeping the void at bay. It would hold for decades, maybe centuries. As the merged beings disconnected from the machine, Jakira felt a sense of accomplishment wash over them. The human part that was once Jack had never felt so useful, so important. The Void Strider part that was once Lyra had never felt so complete. "We've done it," Samira said, exhaustion in her voice. "Only partly," Zareth reminded them. "Earth still faces danger. The void moves slowly, but it will reach your solar system eventually." In the days that followed, the merged beings helped the Void Striders prepare a fleet of ships. Half would stay to maintain the shield. The other half would travel to Earth to warn humanity and offer help. Will they listen? Samira wondered as they prepared to board a ship bound for Earth. "They shot at us last time." "They were afraid," Jakira said. "They didn't understand." "And now? Now we have proof. We can show them the void through our memories, show them the shield working, give them time to prepare." The journey back to Earth took 4 months. As they approached the blue planet, Jakira felt both parts of themselves grow excited. The human part longed to see mountains, oceans, and forests again. The Void Strider part was eager to help save another world. But as their ship reached Earth orbit, they detected a problem. The human governments had built weapons, satellites designed to detect and attack alien vessels. "They're still afraid," Samira said sadly. "Yes," Jakira agreed. "But we can't blame them. To them, we're still invaders." Zareth joined them on the bridge. "What do you suggest? We cannot force them to accept our help." Jakira thought for a moment, drawing on both halves of their knowledge. "We need to contact someone who will listen. Not a government, but regular people, scientists, the kind of humans who became part of us." "And how do we reach them without being shot down?" Samira asked. Jakira smiled. "The human in me knows a place. A cabin in the woods, far from cities. We can land there safely and reach out from there." As the ship changed course for the remote forests of the Pacific Northwest, Jakira felt hope growing within them. The journey that began with a simple, misunderstood phrase, "Please enter me, human," had changed 2 individuals from different worlds into something new. Perhaps the same could happen with their species. The cabin still stood by the lake, untouched since Jack fled with Lyra 6 months ago. As Jakira stepped out of the small scout ship and onto Earth soil again, memories from the human half flooded through them. Weekend mornings drinking coffee on the porch, watching stars at night, the simple peace of solitude. But now they were never truly alone. Within one body lived 2 souls, perfectly merged. And around them, a new future was about to begin. One where humans and Void Striders would learn to face the void together. Jakira touched the communication device on their wrist. "I'm ready to send the message," they said to the others. To all, the curious minds on Earth who might be willing to listen, to all the lonely souls looking for connection, the message was simple. "We come as friends, as proof that different worlds can become one. A darkness approaches, but together we can build the light to fight it." As the message went out across Earth's communication networks, Jakira looked up at the night sky. Somewhere beyond those stars, the void waited, patient and hungry. But for the first time in either of their lives, Jack and Lyra, now forever Jakira, felt truly ready to face whatever came next. Not as human, not as alien, but as something better than both.